So in 1997, American civil rights activist Baptist
Warning, this podcast contains violence, sexuality, gore, and other horrible and disturbing things. Listener discretion is advised. Also, be aware that the hosts of this venture are ignorant dipshits, so please do not take anything they say as fact. And enjoy the show.
Now, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin.
Today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be.
The atoms in your left hand probably came from a different star than your right hand.
It is our basic human right to be fuck up.
A second plane now has crashed into the other tower of the World Trade Center.
Putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
The defendant shall be incarcerated for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
I am.
Okay. Should we do like a preamble?
Sure.
Preamble.
It's
getting dark outside.
This is true.
I am a master of observation.
No, check this out. It's getting colder,
Yep.
which is terrible. The snow is coming, which is terrible. Mm-hmm.
But
have you ever hotboxed a Quincy?
No, I haven't.
No. Ood?
No.
Okay. Shall I explain?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, you're both Canadians, so you already know what Quincy's are. But for our American listeners, this is
and
what
our,
it is.
And our other random listeners.
From Panama. Person from Panama, hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Panamanian.
Yeah.
Panaman?
Panaman? Correct us.
Panamanian. Your channel's really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, no, so Quincy is like a poor man's igloo.
Mm-hmm.
So, all you need is your yard with some snow in it and a shovel.
Yeah.
Take all the snow in your yard, put it in one big pile, then let it sit overnight. Then the next day, tunnel it out. You drill a tunnel in one side, hollow out the inside, and then you chill in there, and that's a Quincy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a couple of friends who can fit through the door and joint or a pipe or whatever, pass it around, and because of the way the snow is formed, the snow won't stick to the snow. It will just stay inside the Quincy, and you can have like one person taking rips and everyone's getting high because it's such a small space and there's no fucking ventilation at all.
Mm-hmm.
So before you pass out from the lack of oxygen, you're going to get really fucking high.
Yeah.
It's like hotboxing a car.
Indeed, but better because a Quincy is also soundproof.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can have loud sex inside and no one outside will have any idea.
You'd have a really cold penis, though.
And
you put some hay down.
Oh, hey.
Why it's good especially for hotboxing is the body heat from the people that are in there melts the walls just a tiny bit.
So it turns into solid ice.
Yes.
You're in an ice hole.
Yeah,
Cool.
that makes it fairly airtight.
Well, I have a large backyard.
You should get your partner to pile up all the snow.
I should.
Does he have a snowblower?
No, but we have a leaf blower.
I don't think you can...
We have shovels.
There you go.
Shovels is the most important
I have
part.
a 3-year-old.
there you go.
He likes helping.
No, I haven't built a Quincy in years, and my partner said, yeah, let's do it in her backyard. So
Okay, cool.
I'll be
So
up
we can do
for
it in my backyard, too. That's
fantastic.
all
We
right.
all have some Quincy's. I would like to record a segment in the Quincy.
Okay, let's do that.
I can do that.
Okay.
Awesome.
Rock and roll.
All right, well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Occulte Veritatis.
Good morning. Evening.
It's not the morning.
It's morning in Russia.
Okay, maybe it's morning in Russia.
Maybe it's 2 a.m. where they're from.
I don't know. I don't know their life. This is the podcast where we talk about cults, conspiracies, killers, and whatever weird shit we feel
Sage,
like talking about.
go back to Russia.
I'd love to.
So would I.
Yeah.
Sounds nice.
It seems dangerous.
It is dangerous. It is dangerous because the Russian police, firm but fair.
Maybe not always fair.
I don't think they'd be accepting my dumb jokes as much as the Canadian police.
I think they want to put you in jail.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, probably.
I like vodka, though.
Yeah.
Not the way I like white rum, but it's pretty good.
Oh, white rum is bad.
Oh, no.
Ooh, I drank, in high school, we used to just get, a big 2.6 of white rum for our non-Canadian friends. It's like a 26 ounce.
Right.
And we used to just like straight pass it around, and you chug
That's
as much as
disgusting, though.
you chug as much as you could before you puked, and then you pass it to the next person. And that's how I used to drink.
Vodka?
That's literally
White rum
insane.
and vodka, I guess. But I got really sick on white rum, and I just can't do it anymore.
I like Kool-Aid drink crystals and white rum.
Well, that
Makes
would be
rum punch. It's delicious. Try it.
that would probably be okay.
I'm in next session. I'm bringing white rum and Kool-Aid crystals.
Can it be blue Kool-Aid?
No, it's got to be fruit punch.
It's gotta be fruit punch. Okay.
Otherwise, it's not rum punch.
Fine.
Okay. Sorry, carry on. I digress.
I am Sage Murray.
I'm Leon Filger.
And I'm Oud Gallifrey.
Cool. So today, it's my turn. So I'll be talking about the Unification Church, which is colloquially referred to as the Moonies. So before we get into that, what's your poison?
What's your poison?
So, what's your poison?
Here we go.
I need to open mine and also finish another one.
Brewed in small batches.
It's Innocent Gun, so it's good.
The man at the liquor store. Now, a random man at the liquor store may not be the best source, but he does work at the liquor store.
He is the best source.
He says that the special thing about Innocent Gun is they brew the beer and then they put the beer into whiskey casks to age.
Thank you, random man.
Yeah. That it's smooth Scottish beer with hints of toffee, vanilla, and oak.
I'm good. Oak?
Yeah.
Like the tree?
Yeah.
I think like the barrel.
I think like your barrel.
That makes sense.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm. I like this beer. It's delicious. Oh.
It tastes like salami.
You taste like salami.
A little bit.
No.
Tell me I'm wrong. No, it tastes like cured meat.
This is not necessarily bad, but
it's smoked.
It tastes Italian.
It tastes like sweet and smoky to me.
I don't know how I feel about the smoky bit.
It'll do it. It'll get the job done. You guys are
No, it tastes like a smoked cheddar.
What?
Smoked cheddar. That's it. I know. I just had smoked cheddar this morning. This is what it tastes like.
Well, I think the whiskey barrels definitely would put that smokiness into it.
If the whiskey barrel was on fire.
I don't know.
So let's rate it. Obviously, Oud and Leon will give it a low rating, and I'll give it a fine rating because I'm a low-key alcoholic.
Okay, what do you rate it?
I rated it a 4.5.
That's not a good rating.
But it's fine.
What did I rate that first? What the fuck it was? That champagne. I gave it a 2.
Yeah, you gave it a 2.
Then I gave that last shit, the banana bread beer, a
3.5,
3.14.
Oh.
And this is getting 1 ruptured hymen out of 17 snowmen.
Oh. I'm not sure what that means, but it sounds serious.
It's not a very good rating. Because each snowman can rupture 3 or 4 hymens at a time. So how many did I say? 4 ruptured hymens?
I don't remember.
It's not a very good beer. Unless you like smoked cheddar, which I do like. I just don't like it in liquid beer form.
You guys are funny.
I don't know. Every sip, every time I sip it alternates between tasting like I can taste the vanilla and I can taste the smokiness and it tastes a little complex. And then the next sip I take, it tastes like somebody stuck a hot rod in it and let it soak for a bit.
That's what she said. I'm going to keep drinking it, but I don't know.
I just don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe we'll revisit it later in the podcast.
I'm giving it a 4 that alternates to a 2 between sips.
Okay. Well, that makes all of the sense.
Would you let your parents pick your spouse? How about your religious leader? For members of one controversial movement, marriage is part of their Messiah's grand vision. Dutiful couples pair off thousands at a time, and a bride shares her most intimate day with 2,000 other brides, while the all-night scramble for hair and makeup is just the beginning of the challenges ahead.
2,000 couples arriving at a stadium outside Seoul, South Korea for a mass wedding. Some have known each other for just months.
How does it feel? Excited, happy.
Others for only a few days.
She literally forgot her husband's name.
These are young members of the Unification movement, sometimes derisively referred to as the Moonies, after their founder, Reverend Son Myung Moon, though it's a name the church now rejects. These mass weddings started in the 60s, inciting massive controversy.
We need to warn young people to stay away from it.
With critics claiming that followers broke away from their families to join the new religion. Now the children of the original followers, the first ever born into the church, make up the majority of those marrying here today.
So I am doing the Moonies. The Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, founded as the Holy Spirit Association for the Unification Church of World Christianity, which is a fucking mouthful.
Mm-hmm. That's what she said.
Yeah. It was commonly called the Unification Church or Unificationism. It's a new religious movement founded in South Korea in 1954 by a dude named Myung Moon. Since its founding, the church has expanded throughout the world to include...
What does the gay Chinese man prefer?
Myung Moon?
Cream of some young guy.
Oh, get out. Since its founding, the church has expanded throughout the world, with most members living in Korea, Japan, and the Philippines, and other nations in East Asia. So it's been sponsored by other organizations and projects over the years, including businesses, news, media, projects in education and the arts, and political and social activism. Church was led by Moon until his death on September 3rd, 2012. And since then, his widow, Hak Ya-han, has assumed the leadership of the church. So this church is kind of like everywhere, and it was really big back in the day. So now I'll kind of talk a little bit about the Unification Beliefs. They're derived from the Christian Bible and are explained in the church's textbook, The Divine Principle.
I would have never thought they'd go on for the Bible.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's pretty, like, Jesus-y, but, like, weird Jesus-y. Yeah. It teaches that God is the creator and heavenly parent, whose dual nature combines both masculinity and femininity, and whose center is true love. The blessing ceremony of the Unification Church, a wedding or a wedding vow renewal ceremony, is a church tradition which has attracted widespread public attention as well as some controversy that I will get into later. The church has engaged in interfaith activities with other religions, including mainstream Christianity and Islam. The Unification Church is among the Unification Church is among the minority of the new religious movements who have introduced their own unique scriptures. The Divine Principle or Exposition of the Divine Principle is the main theological textbook of the Unification Church. It was co-written by the church founder, Myung Moon, and an early disciple named Hyo Won Yo. And it was first published in 1966. So now I'll talk a little bit about some of the beliefs and like what it says in the book. The book lays out the core of unification theology and is held by believers to have the status of Holy Scripture. Following the format of systemic theology, it includes 1, God's purpose in creating human beings, 2, the fall of man, and 3, restoration, the process through history by which God is working to remove all of the ill effects of the fall and restore humanity back to the relationship and position that God originally intended.
So is this going back to the ideal human existed in the Garden of Eve?
Yeah, like it's pretty mainstream for now.
Or Garden of Eden, rather.
Yeah, the Garden of Eve.
Yeah. That's what Adam called it.
Yeah, maybe. Also, Adam's first wife was named Lilith, which is kind of a badass. I might do a podcast on her. She's kind of cool.
Lilith sounds cooler.
So God is viewed as the creator, whose nature combines both masculinity and femininity, and is the source of all truth, beauty, and goodness. Human beings and the universe reflect God's personality, nature, and purpose. The purpose of human existence is to return joy to God. The 4-position foundation is another important and interpretive concept and explains in part the emphasis on the family. So the Unification Church has been the subject of controversy over its beliefs, which differ from traditional Christian interpretations of the Bible, and have been called heretical and anti-Semitic. It's been criticized for its involvement in politics, especially in support of the government of South Korea, for which it was investigated by a committee of the United States Congress in 1977. The church has also been accused of brainwashing its members, which led to some being subject to deprogramming, so like unbrainwashing them.
By the U.S. government?
Yeah. So other controversial events include Moon's 1982 conviction in the United States for filing false federal income tax returns and criminal conspiracy and the 2001 wedding of a Roman Catholic archbishop whose name was Emmanuel Milingo to a Unification Church member in a ceremony that was presided over by Moon. So some history. So the Unification Church members believe that Jesus appeared to Myung Moon when he was 16 years old on Easter morning of 1935 and asked him to accomplish the work left unfinished because of his crucifixion. So already we're seeing some red flags and some weirdo bells ringing.
For some reason, a prophet talked to some old man.
Some random dude?
Yeah.
And after a period of prayer and consideration, Moon accepted the mission, later changing his name to Moon Sun Myung, which is also Sun Myung Moon. I don't know Korean names. It's confusing to me. So Moon preached. Moon is the main dude that started this. He preached in northern Korea at the end of World War II, and in 1946 was imprisoned by the communist regime in North Korea. He was later released from prison by the advance of United Nations forces during the Korean War, and moved south along with many other North Koreans. He built his first church from mud and cardboard boxes as a refugee in Busan. So already we have a little bit of him trying to emulate the life of Jesus, who didn't have a church.
Oh, goody. Trying to teach on the travel.
Yeah. So Moon formally founded the United Church in Busan in 1954, calling it the Holy Spiritual Association for the Unification of World Christianity. Which, again, fucking mouthful. Can't they just pick an easy name? The church...
I'd have gone with Steve.
Steve? Yeah, the Church of Steve.
Can we call it that?
Yeah, no, I don't. That might get confusing.
Steve.
The church expanded rapidly in South Korea, and by the end of 1955, it had 30 church centers throughout the nation, which is a lot. Like, obviously, people really liked that.
It's insane. There's only so much Steve to go around.
I know, there's only so much Steve to go around, but you just... Oh my god, I almost spilled stuff. You just wait.
Low-key drunk.
It's alright, the ferrets will get it.
In 1958, Moon sent missionaries to Japan, and in 1959 to America. So he's starting to creep his tendrils outwards. Missionary work took place in Washington, D.C., New York, and California. United Church missionaries found success in the San Francisco Bay Area, where the church expanded in Oakland, Berkeley, and San Francisco. Then by 1971, the Unification Church of the United States had almost 500 members. That's crazy.
Time out. Liquor break.
Liquor break? Oh, I liked that. Time in. By 1973, it had some presence in all 50 states and had a few thousand members.
Christ.
I know! From 1971 to 1973, it went from 500 to a few thousand, which is...
It seems like the
alarming.
70s are the golden age of cults, eh?
Yes, the 70s are the golden age of cults. No doubt about that.
Is lip herpes the same as genital herpes?
No, it's a different thing.
So can you get lip herpes from giving someone with genital herpes oral?
I think so. But it's like it's called a different thing.
Yeah.
I've always wondered
it's because it's in like a different spot.
Is a canker sore?
No,
a canker sore is different.
I just want like
a cold sore is lip herpes.
But that is the same. Is it the same virus? What I'm saying is, if I go down on someone with genital herpes, can I get lip herpes?
I think you can. I think it transfers.
Can we consult an expert next time?
Yeah, let's consult.
Call an expert.
Call an expert on lip herpes.
Public service announcement.
We'll call the 811. In the 1970s, the American Unification Church members were noted for their enthusiasm and dedication, which included raising money for church projects on so-called mobile fundraising teams. The church also sent missionaries to Europe because they were not merely satisfied with conquering North and South Korea and the States, but they wanted to go to Europe too. The church entered Czechoslovakia in 1968 and remained underground until the 1990s. I'm not sure why they remained underground. Maybe because they were weird? I don't know.
These guys are worse than the Germans. They just keep on spreading.
Yeah, they're like freaking gophers.
I would personally hide underground.
Yeah?
It's the safest place.
I guess.
Well, you're away from the moon.
The evil, evil moon.
Let's not talk trash about the moon. I'm just saying, if I was an animal and I could choose to hide in A, a tree, or B, the ground, I'd go with ground. A, trees are high and scary. B, because I hate jelly beans.
Oh, man.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Gummy candies, jujubes, not jelly beans, and not s'mores either. Marshmallows are disgusting.
I love marshmallows.
I like marshmallows. I make a really good, like, campfire marshmallow.
Honest to God, if someone gives me like a fucking bag of marshmallows for my upcoming birthday, I'll give it to you.
Okay. Maybe I'll give you a bag of marshmallows for your upcoming birthday.
You're just going to give it to yourself. I like graham crackers, though, and chocolate.
Yeah.
Just why get the marshmallows involved?
Weird. Okay. Well, Unification Church activity in South America began in the 1970s with missionary work. Later, the church made large investments in civic organization and business projects, including an international newspaper. So they seem like they have their shit together, and they're kind of spreading everywhere.
Man, that was the definition of having a small town in medieval Europe, as if you had a newspaper circulating.
Yeah, so these guys got a newspaper. Starting in the 1990s, the Unification Church expanded in Russia and other former communist nations. Hak Ja-han, who's Moon's wife, and I mentioned that she's now running the church, she made a radio broadcast to the nation from the state Kremlin Palace. As of 1994, the church had about 5,000 members in Russia, which is crazy.
And a radio station, apparently.
And a radio station and a newspaper.
Christ.
So Moon moved to the United States in 1971, although he still remained a citizen of the Republic of Korea. In the 1970s, he gave a series of public speeches in the United States, including one in Madison Square Garden in New York in 1974, two in 1976 in Yankee Stadium in New York City, and one on the grounds of the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C., where he spoke on God's hope for America to 300,000 people. In 1975, the Unification Church held one of the largest peaceful gatherings in history with 1.2 million people
Jesus.
In Yeouido, South Korea.
That, like, the logistics of that are insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Woodstock had less people than that, and that was a logistical nightmare. People were literally starving, like, in the middle because food couldn't reach them.
Yeah, it's bonkers. So, we're going to kind of start talking about some of a little bit of a weird thing. In 1982, the first large-scale blessing ceremony held outside of Korea took place in Madison Square Garden in New York with 2,075 couples. In 1988, Moon matched 2,500 Korean members with Japanese members for a blessing ceremony that was held in Korea, partly in order to promote unity between the two nations. So this all kind of sounds pretty whatever and boring. The cool stuff we'll get into part 2.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. In 1991, Moon announced that the church members should return to their hometowns and undertake apostolic? How do I pronounce that word?
Apostolic.
Apostolic? I was right the first time? Yes. Drunk Sage 1.
We need to just bleep when we accidentally
say our actual names.
Yeah, I'm up for that. That's fun.
So, Massimo Introvigne, who studied the Unification Church and other new religious movements, said this confirmed that full-time membership is no longer considered crucial to church members. On May 1st, 1994, which was the 40th anniversary of the founding of the Unification Church, Moon declared that the era of the Unification Church had ended and inaugurated a new organization, the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, or the FFWPU.
Man.
Which is stupid.
Everything is so wordy.
I know, it's awful. This would include the Unification Church members and members of other religious organizations working towards kind of common goals.
And NAMBLA.
No, not NAMBLA. I don't think NAMBLA was a part of this. The National Marlon Brando Lookalike Association?
Yeah.
South Park?
Well, yeah, the North American Marlon Brando Lookalike Association.
Yeah.
National Association for Man Boy Love.
Yeah, that's the actual one.
I was surprised to learn that was real.
It's a hilarious South Park episode. So it would, that long wordy name, the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, would include Unification Church members and members of other religious organizations working toward common goals, especially on issues of sexual morality and reconciliation between people of different religions, nations, and races. So the FFWPU co-sponsored blessing ceremonies in which thousands of non-Unification Church married couples were given the marriage blessing previously only given to Unification Church members. So this guy's being real smart, and he's blessing other religions, and he's kind of trying to be inclusive.
He's doing what the Mormons do.
He's doing what the Mormons do. Sage.
Steve.
I'll start again. In 1997, American civil rights activist, Baptist minister, I almost said Minotaur, television, radio talk show host, and political advisor, Al Sharpton took part. Yeah. He took part in at least 3 religious ceremonies hosted by the Unification Church, in which he and his wife Catherine renewed their marriage vows based on the tenets of the church. So now we'll kind of start to touch on some of the messed up controversy that everyone loves about the Moonies. So in the 1970s, the Unification Church was accused of brainwashing. In the 1970s, the Unification Church was accused of brainwashing by the newly active anti-cult movement, which included Steve Hassan and some other former church members. Some sociologists of religion tend to argue that these accusations were based on theories that for the most part have not gained acceptance among scholars. Other scholars, including some psychologists and psychiatrists, argue that brainwashing theories are widely endorsed within the academy at large. Eileen Baker, who was a sociologist of religion and the founder of Inform, the information network focus on religious movements, argues that the Unification Church and other new religious movements at the time, in quotations, demonstrably did not have access to the irresistible or irreversible techniques that they were reputedly wielding. So this chick didn't think that they were quite doing a lot of brainwashing stuff, but I think they were. So members of the Unification Church reported they were forcibly deprogrammed by those who wanted to pull them out of it. In 1977, the Unification Church won a lawsuit in the United States against deprogrammers, as did some other groups about the same time. I don't know what those other groups are. In 1990, U.S. courts have consistently rejected testimonies about brainwashing, mind control, and manipulation, stating that such theories were not part of accepted mainline science according to the Frye Standard of 1923, which doesn't seem very mainline.
Yeah, before the age of psychology really got up and going. Let's go with that.
The fuck's up with that? In 1982, Moon was convicted in the United States for filing false federal income tax returns and criminal conspiracies. There's a court case called United States v. Sun Myung Moon. We can probably link to it in the show notes. Mm-hmm. His conviction was upheld on appeal in a split decision. So Moon was given an 18-month sentence and a $15,000 fine. He served 13 months of the sentence at the Federal Correctional Institution in Danbury before being released on good behavior to a halfway house. The case was the center of a national freedom of religion and freedom of speech debates. Lawrence Tribe, who is a professor at Harvard Law School, argued that the trial by jury had, in quotations, doomed Moon to conviction based on religious prejudice. Dun dun dun. The American Baptist Churches USA and the National Council of Churches and the National Black Catholic Clergy Caucus and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference filed briefs in support of Moon. Clergy that include such names as Jerry Falwell and Joseph Lowery signed petitions protesting the government's case and spoke out in defense of Moon. So, do you guys remember that Emmanuel guide that I kind of talked about a little while ago?
Mm-hmm.
So in 2001, the Unification Church came into conflict with the Catholic Church when Catholic Archbishop Emmanuel Malongo and Maria Sung, who was a 43-year-old Korean acupuncturist, married in a Unification Church blessing ceremony presided over by Reverend and Mrs. Moon. So following his marriage, the Archbishop was called to the Vatican by Pope John Paul II, where he was asked not to see his wife anymore and moved to a monastery of the Order of Friars Minor Capuchin, which I think is a monkey. Sung went on a hunger strike to protest the separation and attracted much media attention. So Malongo is now an advocate of the removal of the requirement for celibacy by priests in the Catholic Church. Interesting. He is the founder of the movement Married Priests Now. That's kind of funny. In April 2008, Moon, then 88 years old, appointed his youngest son, Hyung Jin Moon, to be the leader of the church and the movement, saying, I hope everyone helps him so that he may fulfill his duty as the successor of the true parents. At the same time, he appointed his daughter, Myung Moon, as the president of the Unification Church of the United States. In 2011, in Pyongyang, to mark the 20th anniversary of Sun Myung Moon's visit to North Korea, the president, Kim Jong-nam, hosted Hyung-jin Moon in the official residence. The latter donated 600 tons of flour to North Korean children of the North Pyongyang province, which was the birthplace of Sun Myung Moon. Also, in 2011, I'm butchering all these names, I'm sorry.
Steve.
Tohoku Pyongan Also, in 2011, Tohoku, earthquake and tsunami. He donated $1.7 million to the Japanese Red Cross. In 2009, Moon's autobiography, As a Peace-Loving Global Citizen, was published by Gimyoung Publishers in South Korea. The book became a bestseller in Korea and Japan.
That's so pretentious, having like half a sentence as your book title.
Right? In 2010, Forbes reported that Moon and Han were living in South Korea while their children took more responsibility in the day-to-day leadership of the Unification Church and its affiliated organizations. On August 15th, 2012, Moon was reported to be gravely ill and was put on a respirator at the intensive unit of St. Mary's Hospital at the Catholic University of Korea in Seoul. He died there on September 3rd, 2012.
And you can't be a god figure if you're dead.
Yeah. So, next time I will delve into the juicier parts of the cult, and I promise there are more juicy parts of the cult. So, stay tuned and hang on to your butts.
And our palate cleanser for this episode is by Mercury and the Architects, and their song, Life We Found. Enjoy.
Myself in the mirror, and I promise I'm complacent of the man that looks back, but I can't stand the fact that he's hiding from himself, and I can't stand the act that he plays and he tells. Let him know, let him know, let him know, let him know what you know, what you know, what you know. Let him know, let him know, let him know, let him know. And we can never be who we wanna be, 'cause you will never believe the lies I speak. Let me open up just to put you down. Let me sober up, I swear it's just for now. Let me fall alone until I hit the ground. The man I become wouldn't make you proud. And I fall to the life we found. The choice I made, told the walls to cave in. You'll know that I've known all my mistakes and all fall from grace. Got me out of place in the place called home. Should've questioned allegiance, don't ask man for his reasons. When the people that you love trying to spill your blood over nothing but a pair of sneakers. How far we come, but how low we'll go. Grew up too young, like it failed to grow. Too brave to run, too dumb to leave. Watch a man fall apart, taking more than he needs. I was caught in the wire before I walked through the fire. We all fall to desire. Every king was once a liar. You know what you know, 'cause I want you to know it. Play my next move and refuse to show it. Seize the moment and hold it, 'cause everything that got you where you stand probably contradicts everything that you believe in as a man. Here I am in disgust, I ain't proud of what I've done. I ain't asking for forgiveness for the sins that I've committed, 'cause there's morals than this business. This survival of the fittest. Truth is the life I'm living ain't the life I envisioned. We can never be who we wanna be, 'cause you will never believe the lies I speak. Let me open
We have a couple new iTunes reviews fresh off the packet, and if you want to support us in a way that doesn't cost any money whatsoever, leaving an iTunes review is one of the best ways. It helps pretty much just as much as money, because for every every iTunes review we get that's 5 stars, it puts us up the charts and, gets more eyes on us, and that's always very helpful. So I'm going to read out 2 reviews, 2 5-star reviews for this after show. The first one is by Rogue Knight from the USA. He says, non-pretentious true crime podcast. Easily my favorite disclaimer on any podcast. Yeah, our disclaimer is pretty sweet. I listened to the episode and focus on the cult leader. Yeah, the hosts are non-pretentious. That's nice to hear. Yeah, I guess we're pretty humble people. Canadians are pretty humble. Well, most of us, except for the assholes. Continuing, which is genuinely rare in the podcasting sphere. I hope we don't grow a big head anytime soon, because I'm genuinely not wise enough to handle having a big head. I appreciate the chit-chat among the hosts. OVP reminds me of the Undercovering Explained Mysteries podcast, which I love. Well done, folks. Well, Rogue Knight, thank you very much for that glowing review. I'm not sure we match up to it, but you're very kind for posting it. Our next one is from Carmen from Canada. Hers says, even a wuss like me can listen. Her review reads, I thought the subject matter would be too scary for me. I'm finding the topics extremely interesting and informative as well. There's some creepy stuff, and I've been listening sober, not recommended by the hosts. Well, you can listen sober. Like, you don't require a beer or a bowl to listen, but it's recommended. Because some of the stuff is pretty harsh. We're going to try and, lighten it up with a bit of humor, but you don't have to drink. We accept fans of all types, even the sober ones. Come along. Continuing on, but the hosts' antics get me through it. Yeah, we try and keep it light. The dynamic between the hosts is really nice, and I want to be in the same room with them. Well, if you're ever in the Saskatoon area, Carmen, feel free to come on the podcast. We have our 4th chair set up, so if anybody out there in podcast land is in Saskatoon area, just shoot an email to ovfeedback@gmail.com and we'll have you on the podcast. Thank you very much, and you folks have a lovely evening.